humming sound. Our first storyteller she's been here a couple times, but this is her first time telling a story. And I recently was learning about her scientific past, which I didn't know. So she contacted us several months ago, so I knew that she had a really good story. So please welcome to the stage, CC Wu.
I have a dragon dad. He has the worst temper. Smoke flares out of his nostrils. But he's also mythical. He's really cool. He rides motorcycles, he drives sports cars, and he's super smart. He speaks 3 dialects in Chinese. He speaks English without an accent. He's a professor of engineering. And I thought, I need to talk to this man and learn how to be smart like him. So when I was in kindergarten, it was show and tell. And I said, Dad, can you help me get ready? And he's like, don't say, Hey, you have something to share? I do. What do you have? An American flag. Can you tell me why there are 50 stars? Well, how about why are there 13 stripes? I went home in tears. I couldn't make my dad proud. In fact, I totally just felt ashamed. But I thought, it's only kindergarten. I still have a chance. I can make it up. But the truth was I couldn't. That summer, my parents split up. They divorced, and I moved with my mom to California. My dad moved to Michigan. But I thought, that's okay. I can show my dad, get to know him. And I didn't realize for a really long time that you get to know your parents if you don't live with them through other people that are related. Your grandmother tells you stories about what they were like when they were a kid, or your aunt or uncle says how they fought when they were a kid. But my grandparents passed away when I was little, and I never knew them. And my dad didn't have any brothers or sisters, so I didn't get to hear stories about him. And also, he never picked up the phone, so I couldn't call him and ask him how he was doing. He was a professor of engineering who didn't like technology. But I thought, like any other Chinese American kid, I can impress this man if I go to a really good school, right? Really good school. And to save money, I thought, hey, Dad, I'll just apply to 2 schools. He was so mad. He's like, are you kidding me? You're only applying to 2 schools? Anyway, we got over that. I went to college. Then I thought, wow, maybe he'll be really impressed if I go and get my master's degree. And I said, Dad, I'm graduating. You come out? He's like, I'm kind of busy. It's like, okay. Well, maybe that wasn't impressive enough. Maybe if I go for my PhD, maybe that'll be impressive enough, right? Great. So I go to Johns Hopkins, study clinical trials methodology, make it through all these hoops and hurdles, and at the end of the day, I say, oh, finally, I'm going to graduate. But by then, my dad was vice president of research at a university in Singapore. And I thought, well, he is not going to want to fly out here, so I didn't go to my graduation. Well, last year, I found out there was going to be a family reunion, his side of the family. His cousins were all getting together in China, and I had never been to China. I thought, this is going to be great. Dad, I emailed him because it's free, and he'll answer. Dad, I would love to go meet your family. He said, you did. When you were a baby. So I called my friend Priya, let's go to China. She's like, yeah, let's go to China. So I happened to mention casually in an email again to my dad, going to China with Priya. He's like, when are you going? I said, May. He's like, what a coincidence. That's when the family reunion is. Okay. And still, I thought he might, want to include me and maybe tell me some details, but he kept giving me really sketchy information. Like, maybe it's happening this day, maybe not, don't know. Like, how do you not know this? Okay, fine. So we get to China, and it's looking good. We meet in Beijing on the first day, and he plans for us to go out to the Forbidden City. We go there, the tour guide is telling us, see the central archway? Only the emperor could walk through the central archway, and the empress on their wedding day. Do you see the one next to it? only the 2nd through the 9th highest ranking officers could walk through that one. And my dad tells me, that's where your great-grandfather walked through. He was the 2nd highest ranking official. I thought, wow, he had an awesome job and no commute. So a few days later, said, now we're gonna have a big dinner, a big banquet, Beijing duck. I was like, okay, that's kind of corny, yeah, Beijing duck in Beijing. But we're not gonna be here. Pri and I had already made our plans. He's like, what do you mean you're not gonna be here? Family dinner, you're not gonna see all your aunts and uncles? I'm like, what aunts and uncles? My sisters and my brother. Oh, well, thanks for telling me. I'll see you in a couple days in Nanjing. So, again, no real details, but we get to Nanjing, and I find a handwritten note the hotel clerk hands to me. I waited for you as long as I could, had to go to dinner, see you later. Yeah, no texting, no cell phone calling, just a handwritten note. We get back from dinner. Well, I guess you must have had a good time tonight. Don't be late for breakfast tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'm gonna fly 5,000 miles to meet family I've never met before, and I'm gonna be late and miss it. So we get up the next morning, and I look, and there's a whole group of people I've never met before. And they look at me and they say, you must be Tony's daughter. It's my 4 aunts, my uncle, plus all of their cousins. And one of the cousins is actually handing out a photo that they took when they were children. So it's 6 siblings all together, my dad's father's generation, and then all of the cousins. So I think this is amazing. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna learn all about my family history. We walk, we have a breakfast, Muslim breakfast. And I don't quite understand until we sit down that our family was Muslim. I mean, my dad used to tell me, oh, you know, we're descended from Otto Khan. I'm like, Dad, who's Otto Khan? That's Genghis Khan's brother. Okay, Genghis Khan had a brother named Otto, sure. But it turned out to be true. Actually, the ancestor that was telling the story, he's the liaison between the Chinese government and all the Chinese Muslims. So we're sitting in this big banquet room, and he's telling us that, you know, if you meet a family with the last name Mo, it's like Mohammed. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's some Mo's, maybe there's some Ha's, but I never heard of a Med. But then past that, I couldn't understand what he was saying. You know, my Chinese is this, you know, Chinese of a little kid who knows when to come for dinner and when to make their bed. And when I say I speak Chinese, what people hear is, I speak the language of the 1950s people who lost the war and had to move to a small island called Taiwan. Because my mom's father was a general for Chiang Kai-shek. So I looked at my dad and I thought, maybe he can translate for me. Maybe he can finally explain to me where we're from. And I looked and he was talking to Priya. Like, you're telling my friend our family history and I don't get to know? Why don't I get to know? And I was really upset. I had made all this effort. I came out. I thought I was being this dutiful daughter by coming out, and I was just so upset. You know, you can't cross certain lines. You can't talk to the uncles and the aunts because that's not allowed. And then I just decided, forget this. I don't need to pay attention to these rigorous, you know, ways of doing things the Chinese way, because guess what? I'm actually Chinese American, so I can pick and choose. That's a benefit. So I turned to my dad's cousin and I said, will you please write down our family tree? He said, sure, no problem. So it was then when he wrote it out that I realized my dad was actually given up by his biological father to his biological uncle because they couldn't have children. So he was raised as an only child. And when he talked about playing at a huge estate that had tiger pits, it was because that was owned by his biological father's first wife. So he had a really different childhood, and he actually didn't get to pick his own family. But now here we were, many, many years later, and I thought we have a chance to start over. So that night at dinner, I just sat back and I just really enjoyed watching them all critique the food, and at the end of the night, I thought, hey, let's go out, let's go have dessert. So that's, you know, what I like to do with my friends. So we all went next door, ordered a huge mountain of red bean ice, and the aunts and uncles started ordering wine and beer and telling stories about how my dad would spike their drinks when they weren't looking at family functions. So I finally started to get to know more about my dad. And when we got back to the States, we sat down and I said, Dad, I had a really, really good time in China. He's like, so did I. I said, actually, I was totally unlike myself. I didn't get immunizations, public health background, what? And I didn't prepare anything. And he said, I know, you were so unlike you. And I thought, you know what, I'll take a chance. I'll tell him about something that I'm doing that's not related to science. Dad, I'm really into storytelling. I want to tell the story about going to China. He's like, you do? I said, yeah, and I'm working on a script. You're what? You're working on a script? I'm so proud of you. And at that moment, I just realized that I had put all these expectations on myself that were unnecessary. I thought that he wanted me to be a certain way, but really all he wanted me to do was just share with him who I really was. So I decided when I found out I was going to be performing that I'd call him. Dad, I'm going to be performing. You're what? Would you like me to go? Maybe next time.
Thank you, Cece. That was great. Our next